Here's a simple example of the intrusive, rude behaviour of businesses nowadays, who don't care how rude they are. They just don't care. I just opened up Google. I happen to use it. I would use it if it wasn't rude, but it's rude and invasive and intrusive and obnoxious and evil, frankly. I say evil, I mean in its disregard for people. It's extremely rude in the way it acts, or it acts. The people who design it, the way they're behaving. So I open up Google. I usually use the Onion router as a browser because it's the least intrusive, and I open up Chrome because it's the only way I can do some things. Otherwise I wouldn't use it. I would have nothing to do with it. And there it is again. Chrome is not your default browser. So, the number of times in my life I have avoided or removed it from being my default browser. There it is again, bothering me. It's got no business doing that, but they just don't care anymore. And that the amount of stress that they cause people through this constant harassing crap, I'm tired of it. I'm absolutely tired of it, and I know everyone else is tired of it too. We've got to do something about this. I mean, do something. It's got to be stopped. There has to be some sort of regimen put in place which stops businesses doing this, because every single time I use my computer I get hassled, and it's changed my computer use from being something that I delighted in to something that is a complete and utter annoyance now. Well, the use isn't annoyance, but these other things are annoyances. And it's not just a case of, oh well, put up with it. I'm tired of putting up with it. I'm tired of putting up with it. It has to be stopped and changed. I'm absolutely tired of it. How many times do I have to tell the same thing? I don't want something. No, they by the click of a button, by the design of a web page, they can produce a situation where it keeps on and on and on and on and on and on hounding people. I don't want to even opt out of it. I just want it to stop. I want it to be something which is forbidden. That's how we can take off, I think, 50% of the strain and stress that people experience nowadays, because it's all to do with this obnoxious, pressuring rubbish that is thrust upon us every day by companies you can't hold to account. I think that the future has to be when someone, and I've mentioned this in another video, when someone designs a web page, they are ultimately responsible for it. Their name must be at the bottom of the web page, and they must be contactable. That would stop this, because at the moment they just hide within an organization. They just hide. Well, if the programmer is ultimately responsible personally for what they're doing to people who use things, and nowadays there are many websites you cannot avoid using, then this would stop. So I think truly the days of the Wild West of the internet have to end. It's a disgrace. It's an unusable pile of rubbish because there are no rules. We have to have some sense of authority, and not the disfigured globalist thing, because they'll jump on this, say, oh yes, we can have control. That's not what we're after. And here's another thing. When I record YouTube videos and I don't upload my own thumbnail, every single video the thumbnail is chosen out of my video, which shows me, right, in my most animated pose, right? Their algorithm must choose, because obviously they can, if they can search through videos to automatically find words and create subtitles from them, they can obviously, it's not difficult, analyze the visuals in a video and choose a particular frame based upon the facial expression. It's not, nowadays it's not rocket science, okay? So every single time I don't put an engineered thumbnail on, they want me to produce an engineered thumbnail so it all looks professional, right? I think that they have automatically set it up to choose the most obnoxious looking thumbnail from my video. Again, I mean, if that's not the case, maybe there's another excuse for it, but it looks that way to me. I'm tired of this. Now you might say, oh well, most of the frames in my video might be of my face in an unhappy expression. I don't think it's that simple, especially not nowadays with the technology available. They'd be stupid not to. But this is another example, and this example might not be true, but I think it is. But this is another example of the cowardice and the disgraceful behaviour of what they call developers now. They're not developers. A developer, look at me, I'm a developer. No, that's nonsense. They're programmers. That's all they are. They're programmers. That's all they are. That's all they ever have been. That's all they ever will be. Giving them some kind of, some kind of title is nonsense. They're just programmers. It's that simple. They sit and they write programs. Even if they use a visual interface to do so, that's all they're doing. So a website designer and programmer is, sitting there producing outcomes in the user. They're trying to manipulate and control the user instead of providing a service. And I've said this in other videos. And I'm tired of it. I think they need to be ultimately responsible. Just as YouTube. I believe that what YouTube is doing is wrong. And they're not held accountable to anybody. There needs to be an authority over and above them. Now the problem we've got nowadays is that corruption is so ubiquitous, or everywhere, that any institution that's set up is immediately corrupted. The people who, let's call them globalists for now, those people who have their big picture agenda for this world, which is wrong and needs to be stopped, they will immediately find any organisation and do what they can to pressure it or deviate its purpose or corrupt it from within. That's the truth. And if you can't see it, then you're blind. I'm sorry for your blindness, but I can see it, and millions of billions of other people can see it too. They just feel powerless because it's all done in secret. So we need things which are done in the open to counter it. And that requires a bit of courage and guts, which the people who are doing these things in secret don't have. They are gutless cowards because they can't stand up. That's what they are. They're a big bunch of gutless cowards in secret, like snakes. That's what they are. The truth of life is you must do things in the open. You must be open and honest with your dealings. So you have honour. That's the whole point of it. So if we do have some institution which is responsible for imposing rule, it has to be decent. And it has to be kept clean of the corrupt nonsense that is permeating seemingly every part of society. So yeah, every single time something irritates me online, I feel compelled to make a video about it to get this message out somehow. Because this all has to be fixed and changed. Imagine if, in the United Kingdom where I live and where I'm from, we used to have milk delivered every morning, all around the country, right? However that came about, I'm sure it was some, it's a bold thing to do, to orchestrate that. It was the dairy industry, I'd imagine, in this country, part of the farming industry, and they had a meeting to decide that they would push milk delivery. I mean, we even have milk in our tea, and that's probably why. It was an economic push to get people to use milk. Same with having cereal for breakfast with milk. Okay? So imagine if you imagine if you didn't want to have milk delivered in the morning, and it was elective, you obviously arranged to have it delivered. But imagine if every single day of your life someone came to your door and said, we want to deliver milk to you, we want to deliver milk to you, we want to deliver milk to you. Eventually you'd walk out of your house one day and you just punch them in the face and close the door. And that's what's happening with web design. So all these developers All they're doing all the time is trying to irritate people into doing what they want. Well, if you're going to continue annoying people, you're going to eventually, you can't do it. Basically, you can't be allowed to do it. It's wrong, and they need to be stopped. I don't want that every single day of my life. Every single time I use my computer, I have to wade through rubbish. I never had to do that in the past. When I first started using my computer in the 1990s, there was none of this. Even in the 2000s, there was a little bit, but not like this. Every single day, every single time I use my computer, it's the same thing. More and more and more and more and more crap that I have to wade through. I'm tired of it. The whole world has become ruined because of this. Because when I was a kid, there was order and structure in the world, and it was very simple. You didn't have this complete abandonment of rules, abandonment of manners. You don't behave this way, but these stupid, ignorant, malevolent, nasty little programmers are just getting away with this nonsense because the companies that they work for shield them and they're not held to account. So again, I have to say, the answer seems to me to be the developer has to put his name on the website legally. Otherwise they shouldn't be allowed to operate, because it's not fair on the user. And I know that people would jump on this to try and impose undue control, but we have to have some control. We have to. You can still have the dark web or deep web or whatever the hell you want to call it. That'll always be there. But as for above board, proper, everyday working internet that people use, you've got to have some accountability. Because at the moment it's a mess. It's an absolute mess, and I'm tired of it. And I'm not the only one. This has to be fixed. That's absolutely it's necessary.